Welcome to Talk Virtual. Today we're talking about leadership, not just as a title, but as a responsibility. My guest is Patrick Jackman, founder and manager of the Jackman Group LLC, a leadership development and organizational performance firm committed to helping leaders and teams dare to lead, aspire to excel, and determined to make a difference. Patrick and his team help leaders and organizations grow through practical development experiences that move beyond theory and into real application. Patrick, welcome. I'm glad to
Eric,
have you here.
Erica, thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here with you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Sweet. All right, let's get started. We're gonna get into let's start with some leadership that are actually what leaders are actually facing right now. So when you look at the leaders you work with today, what are the biggest challenges they're navigating right now?
I think Erica, leaders today, they are faced with a lot. They are uh, what I like to say, to face with the weight of responsibility. They're expected to do a lot more today than they did in the past. They're faced with performance in terms of results. All right. The organization wants them to just perform and give results right now, not a week from now, not a month from now, not a year from now. What can you do for me right now? And that is a great responsibility. In addition, they're also faced with the changes that is currently taking place, whether it's technology, whether it's people. So the weight of responsibility, the expectations that are given of them, the higher that you go in an organization, the more responsibility is expected of you.
I'm reminded of that commercial, "It's my money and I want it now."
Uh, it's
I,
a
I
lot.
definitely understand that. Yeah. Okay. So where do you see even strong leaders getting stuck or plateauing?
I think when I look at it, not think, but I know based on my experience, is that leaders think that they can lead how they did in the past, right? So pre-COVID, post-COVID, things have changed. Things
Mhm.
has sped up. Technology has changed. People that we have the privilege to lead has changed. So if you try to do the old style of leading in a new space, that doesn't work. So that's in terms of plateauing or getting stuck. I think the way they get stuck is really not understanding how to pivot and how to change. That's one of the key areas that I'm seeing with leaders that we have the privilege to either train or coach or even engage with.
That makes me think of when COVID first happened and a lot of people were working from home, and some managers were complaining that they can't tell if the people are actually working or not.
Hmm.
And the HR manager had to say, is the work being turned in? And they said yes. And it's like, well, that's all you have to go by, and you have to be happy with that. It's just that they're completing their work, and that's all you can judge it by. You
Yeah,
don't know if they're watching TV while working or listening to listening to music while they're working.
and that's sometimes that's a big challenge, right? Because that's not how leaders operated in the past. They were there, you were in the office, they were there walking through to see that you are doing work, and that you were there from whether 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, whatever that work schedule is. And things have changed. Leaders sometimes used to lead with authority and power. That doesn't work anymore. That's a short-term fix. So if you lead by authority and power, now employees have a choice, especially when you're looking at Gen Z or millennials. It's a different day, a different world. So we have to change our leadership styles.
Okay. Why does leadership feel hard for so many people right now, even for experienced leaders? What's
Yeah,
going on with that?
that goes back to what I just said, right? Because they're focused on the past. I used to lead like this. My expectation was not as much, right? So now it's becoming more difficult. You have a new set of employees or workers, teammates, right? So now, and if you haven't pivoted, if you're focused solely on performance and getting the job done, if you're focused so much on productivity, now there is a different dynamic. People are expecting you to do more for them. So the landscape has changed. So not only do more for the individual, but your team. And then here comes technology, where everything changes probably every week or every month. Where technology, it took 5 years or 3 to 5 years in terms of a change of technology, things are sped up. So the way we did business, the way we manage or led in the past, it's becoming a way different because people need more, teams need more, and organizations are moving faster because they have, in order to be competitive, you have to embrace technology, which is moving much faster than it did in the past. So it seems a little bit more difficult when it comes to leading and leading teams.
Yeah, I was thinking about how AI came out in 1956, but it feels like it just came out in 2022 and it's like going so fast. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
you definitely need to keep up with the stuff.
definitely.
Okay, so an important point because experience does not automatically equal continued growth. So, what's the difference about the way you approach leadership development compared to more traditional training?
That's a great question. What I'd like to say, so let me take a step back a little bit here, is that um, if you're not focused on your development, I like to tell leaders there are two ways of in terms of growing, right? Or living, existing, and this goes beyond leaders. You're either growing or you're falling behind. There's no in between. So, from a leadership standpoint, if you want to embrace, if you want to become a more effective leader or what we call exceptional, you can't stand still and focus on the same old, same old. It is your responsibility to embrace growth and development. So that's what we try to tell our leaders, those that we train and those that we coach. At some point, it is your responsibility to invest in you. What organizations do, Erica, and what leaders do is that they're focused on the development of their team members and not focus on the development of themselves. Both are equally weighted because it's important for your team members to be developed, and it's equally as important for you to be developed in order to grow. So when we talk about that, it's important that for us to get that across to our leaders, focusing on growth and development of themselves.
Yeah, because it's a group of individuals who make up the team.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so what happens when leaders rely only on experience and stop being intentional about their development?
Another great question. When you're focusing on your experience. This is how I did it in the past, right? I'm at the point where I'm the leader extraordinaire. I have 20 years of experience as a leader. You can't tell me anything. That type of leader is one that's what we call operating on autopilot. They're just coasting. They may be age wise, well, let's not say age wise because experience doesn't mean that you're older. Experience simply means that you have gained knowledge for the job. But so some leaders rely on their experience as opposed to focusing and trying to reinvent themselves. So if I just focus on experience, I'm not doing anything else. I'm in that coast mode. I don't want to know anything. I don't want to learn anything. And you said it earlier. AI has been around for how many years?
A long time.
A long time.
Like since 1956.
And now we are embracing it in the last maybe 2, 3 years or less.
Yeah.
So if you only focus on the experience and you're not looking to learn something new, you are going to be left behind. So your experience can only take you so far. Your knowledge can only take you so far. But now you have to make that shift in your mindset and says, I need to learn more because your employees, your team members are learning more.
Yeah. It makes sense. Okay. So, what do people miss when they try to grow as leaders only through content, motivation, or quick wins?
Hmm. I think they miss the journey. They miss the depth of things. Some leaders look at leadership as a destination. They come in as employee, or maybe they may come in as one position of leadership. So if you look at an organization may hire from the outside or they may hire from the inside. If they're hiring from the inside, they're developing people along the way. So you get to a point or position where you look at it more of a status piece, right? So your question is, how do they miss the growth? Leadership is about growing, it's about inventing, it's about getting better, it's about going from good to great to exceptional. So if you're not focusing on the growth aspect, if you're just focused on the destination of being a great leader, you're missing from where you started to where you are now. That journey of experience, that depth of knowledge, that depth of having to learn more, having to engage more. You're missing that piece, that journey piece, which helps you to become a more effective leader.
Yeah. So, what you're describing really is intentional development. It's not just inspiration. So, is that part of what led you to create Impact Leaders Spring 2026 leadership development experience?
Yeah, because I find that and we we normally go into our method is twofold, Erica. Um, what we call go to you, you come to us. So they're twofold in terms of how we attack the marketplace. One is an organization, let's say your company, Erica, you're looking to develop your leaders and your teams because we're focused on leadership development, but we're also focused on team enhancement. So you may bring us in to focus on Erica Bates' organization solely. But there are other organizations out there that may have some specific leaders that need to be developed. So that's the other side of things, right? Where we have an open enrollment opportunity where multiple leaders from multiple organizations can attend. So that's what this opportunity is about, is really having an experience, a leadership development experience, where leaders from multiple organizations can come together and learn from each other, but also learn from our own experience. And that's what Impact Leaders is about, because our goal is to take leaders from where they are to where they should be, or where they desire to be. And Impact Leaders is a great vehicle for leaders to get there. Not saying it's the only vehicle, but it's one of the vehicles that we utilize to bring leaders of all from all different segments, market segments, in all different companies under one roof for 5 weeks.
Nice. It sounds like it's the kind of place where you would want a seat at the table
I like that.
because,
Yes. Hey, can
because
I
you get
use
to
that
meet
one?
different kind of
I'm
people.
gonna put that here. A seat at the table. I like that,
Yeah.
Erica.
I mean, because you just said you're putting together leaders from different markets. I'm like, what a chance to get to the network. That sounds like a really good networking opportunity also.
That is absolutely right. This is our second one. We did one last summer, and that was one of the key components, the output or the outcomes of that 2025 is that we had representatives, we had individuals from different businesses, profit, non for profit. We even had a friend of mine who was a pastor, so ministry. So we had a cross section of leaders from different segments coming together. And as you said, networking. After 5 weeks, now you've built a cohort because it's a cohort model. Now you've built a friendship. If you need something, you can call on this person. You've built relationships. So now you have something you can take with you and says, hey, I was 5 weeks, I was involved with a leadership program or experience with this person. Let me call and go to lunch, or I know that they do this. Let me seek them out.
Yeah. So, who would you say this experience is for and who it's not for?
It is for leaders that I would say those that lead individuals, lead teams, first and foremost. Those that are open to learning and growing. Those that want a seat at the table, as you said, right? Because sometimes as leaders, we think that we have arrived. No one can teach us anything. So we're looking, if you are a leader that is open to learning something else, to growing and developing from a great leader, because we have great leaders out there, but you want to take the next level to become exceptional. You want more tools in your toolbox, then it's for you.
All
What
right.
it's not for, Erica, is for someone who is closed-minded, someone that's not willing to learn, someone that's not willing to embrace the new. So if that's you, don't come. But if you're willing to learn more, to take your leadership style and abilities, your skills to the next level, engage with others, other like-minded leaders, then you should really look at registering uh, and attending.
All right. So let's say we do want a seat at the table. We do want a chance to network with fellow leaders in different markets. What kind of transformation should someone expect over those 5 weeks?
It's incumbent upon you. The transformation, we will provide the necessary tools, right? We'll provide you with the content, the experience, because those myself, I do some of the modules. A couple of our team members also facilitate. We will pull from our own experience, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We will tell you the real. We're not going to sugarcoat anything, right? So you're coming and it's not going to be something that's boring. It's not a it's not a regular training. That's why it's called the leadership development experience. It's an experience. But we will leave it all on the pitch. We leave it all on the field. Now, you as the leader also have a responsibility. So, if transformation is your goal, you have a responsibility to really engage in being part of it, of the experience, not just physically, but mentally. So your mindset has to be there. Your mindset has to say, I'm looking to be transformed. So we're asking you to come with an open mind, come with a willing heart in the spirit, right? And come with the ability that says, I am open to being transformed because I want to go from good to great to exceptional. So we will do our part. Each leader has a responsibility to do their part. And I guarantee you, at the end of the 5 weeks, this is a guarantee, at the end of the 5 weeks, you will gain something or some things that will help in your transformation as a leader.
Nice. That sounds pretty powerful too. So, yeah. Well, I think that helps people understand this is not just about attending sessions, it's about becoming stronger as a leader in real time. So, what is the real cost to the leader, the team, and the organization when leadership growth gets neglected?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That you're hitting some solid points there. We are we're living in a space where things are moving faster. As I said, organizations are looking for more. We're living in a very competitive space. So when an organization, and I've seen some great organizations embrace learning and development of their teams and development of yourselves. I've also seen other organizations look at it as a number on the P&L. Learning and development goes beyond a cost. And you said price and cost, right? I
That's
look
right.
at it as an investment. So what happens when an organization does not invest in their teams and themselves? You may find that someone else, another organization, is looking at it from an investment standpoint. You're looking at it from a cost. They're looking at it from an investment standpoint. Gen Z and millennials, I'm at that point where I've worked for organizations for a long time. We founded a Jackman group in 2010. But we're at the point where now Gen Z and millennials, if they stay with an organization 5 years, it's a win. If they stay with an organization 10 years, hallelujah. You got to be thankful. So if you don't develop them, someone else will is willing to do that. So guess what? They're going to leave you. Now you're back to the drawing board trying to find someone else. So now you're spending money trying to find a new hire. And that new hire, you're going to spend money developing them because they'll have to know the culture, they'll have to know the products and services. So you may spend more money here with the new person because when that person leaves, now the team also has to pick up the slack that that person once had. So you're looking at spending money. Morale is going to be effective. It's going to be affected, right? People are doing more for less. So that's what happens when you don't invest in development of your team. Whereas if you develop that person, they're happier, they're more productive. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't say that person could leave. But keep in mind, studies have shown that people don't leave organizations, they leave their managers. So you have to develop them and develop yourselves. But you have a choice. Either develop the current person or develop the new person. Find a new person, develop them while at the same time tending to or embracing or serving your existing workforce. It's a choice. It's a choice.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm wondering, how do you know when to let go of somebody and when to hold on to them? But I know we got to move on. So I want to ask you the burning question I have right now. How do leaders know when they've hit a plateau, even if things still look fine on the surface? Because I'm thinking that might have something to do with the question I asked before.
Yeah, we did a piece. Those of you that watched the 30, you can go back and watch that at on our YouTube channel at the 30 with Patrick, and we talk about that. I talked about that a couple weeks ago. So when does a leader know? Um, they hear it from their teams, but they also feel it, right? They're not communicating as much. They're becoming more fearful. Um, they're becoming more set in their ways, but their teams also know when the leader has hit that plateau. Productivity is suffering. So personally, you're not as excited as you once was. There's some cracks in the wall, and your team sees it because they see that your passion is not there anymore. So we know, all of us know when we've hit that plateau because we're not as productive. We're not as excited anymore. We're not talking to our teams anymore. We're existing as opposed to growing. And it shows in the team as well as the organization.
I can see how that fearful part will come up, especially for me, because I'm thinking if everybody would know before me, like, dang, I've been found out.
Exactly, right? So the
Yeah.
your team members are growing, but you are not.
I would hate for that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So if you've been recognizing the gaps between where you are as a leader and where you know you need to be,
Mhm.
this sounds like the kind of environment where real growth happens. Patrick, where can people go to learn more about MPACT Leaders Spring 2026 Leadership Development Experience and see if it's the right fit for them?
Yeah, they can go to either I, I'm not sure if you can put up our link for them to go to, but there'll probably be a link in the description, um, or they can go to any of my socials. They can go to my personal LinkedIn, or they can go to my Facebook page, or they can go to the Jackman group. So my personal LinkedIn would be under my name, and we have a lot there. They can go to the Jackman group LinkedIn page. The link is also there, and check it out. Just look at it, review it, but more importantly, register. This is an in-person training. Just to let you know, this is an in-person training right now in Rochester, New York. So if you are in Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse, those cities, even as far as Albany, it's 5 weeks, Erica. It's 5 week a commitment, 1 day a week, every Tuesday for 5 weeks, from 9 to 4. So we're not asking for 10 weeks. We're asking you 5 weeks, 1 day a week. If you cannot commit to 1 day a week for 5 weeks, something's wrong. That tells me you're not managing or handling your time effectively. If you are a leader and your team cannot function without you for 1 day a week, we got a bigger problem. We have some problems.
All right. Well, Patrick, thank you for joining us today and for sharing these insights. This has been a valuable conversation, especially for me, um, on what it's really like to grow as a leader in today's environment. For those of you listening, be sure to connect, learn more, and take note. Sorry, take the next steps in your own leadership journey. Thanks for joining us. This is Talk Virtual, and I'm Erica Bates. One more time, Patrick, tell people where they can find you.
Sure. I'm on LinkedIn, Patrick Jackman, so you can search it on LinkedIn, and send me a connection. You can also find me on my Facebook page. You can find me on Instagram. And you can also find our company, the Jackman Group LLC, on LinkedIn. If you are interested in becoming a part of our 5 week cohort, our Spring 2026 Leadership Development Experience, make sure that you click on the link, take a look at it, and above all, commit, register, make the commitment. I like to say, Erica, hashtag invest in you, right? If you don't invest in yourself, you are limiting the capacity, you're limiting where you can go. You're going to reach that point of plateauing. So I implore you, make sure that you invest in you as a leader. And what better place? Start with our Spring 2025 leadership experience. Thank you for the time, Erica. I greatly appreciate it.
Meant to say spring 2026 because this is now.
Yes, Spring 2026, right now, because spring started when last week. So now, Spring 2026, April 14th to May 12th. That's the time frame. 5 weeks, 1 day a week, every Tuesday for 5 weeks.
That's right. All right, Patrick, thank you again. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Erica. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, stop